another HBCU review. Brought to you by HBCU Live.
Welcome to another edition of HBCU Live. We kick off this week's show with the game everybody wanted to see in the CIAA, the championship game. Winston-Salem State and Virginia State, the Rams in their championship pedigree, going up against the VSU team with no quarterback Terrian Ayers. He's suspended for this game. Nico Johnson gets the start. It's his first ever collegiate start. He had only thrown 3 passes all year going into this game. The Trojan defense would set the tone in this affair at Durham County Stadium. Fumble on the miscommunication. Dontrell Jones picks it up. He makes a couple of Rams miss, and there he goes on the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Virginia State. The Trojans jump out to a 7-0 lead. Head coach Latrell Scott trusting his true freshman at the quarterback position in the biggest game of the season. And Nico Johnson wouldn't let him down. 12 of 19 passing for 125 yards. Showing some poise here, buying some time, then hits Deion Futch with the completion. That takes the ball inside the red zone. A few plays later, Johnson gets a chance to do it with his legs right up the middle. He's airborne. The ball pops loose. And Ronnie Ransom, the Trojans' offensive lineman, lands on it in the end zone. That's a touchdown, and VSU goes up by a score of 14-0, and everybody wearing orange and blue is going cray-cray in Durham. This is the Winston-Salem State Rams, however. They don't panic. They show you why. They're the number 10 team in the country coming into this game. Phillip Sims, Eric Williams, give them 6. Winston-Salem State trims the deficit to 14-7. They're knocking on the door again just before halftime, but Trojan Nation will watch their guys come through in a big way. Sims might have gotten a little bit greedy on this play right here, trying to go over the top. Look at the play here by Darian Thomas. He gets the INT. Crisis averted. Virginia State still has the lead at the break, 14-7. Pick it up down the third quarter. The Winston-Salem defense turns up the heat on Johnson. They don't get the sack, but Johnson doesn't get the first down. VSU's got a punt. It's a bad punt. It's shanked. And Winston-Salem State takes advantage. Sims to Brendan Felder in the back of the end zone. That's a 6-point strike. And just like that, we're tied at 14. We've got drama in Durham County Stadium, and then the Rams get a chance to take the lead for the first time all game long. Alejandro Suarez does the honors with this field goal. Winston-Salem State goes up 17-14. So now Nico Johnson, the true freshman, has got to come through. And look at him with his legs right up the middle. Touchdown, Virginia State. The woo-woos are going cray-cray. It's 21-17 in favor of the Trojans, but they've got to make one last stop, and Phillip Sims gets one chance to make late game magic for the Rams. Scrambles out of the pocket here, slides his way to a first down for Winston-Salem State. Big play in the sequence coming up right here. Sims finds Felder, and Felder takes the ball inside the 10-yard line. First and goal for Winston-Salem State, but keep your eye on Isaiah Towns in the middle of your screen right there. He's going down in agony because he saw a flag thrown, and it goes against Winston-Salem State, so instead of first and goal, it's 2nd and 16. And now it's 4th and 11. Winston-Salem State's got to come up with a play, or else the season will come to a tragic end. Sims trying to buy time. Taquante Sims breaks it up. And BSU comes down to Durham, North Carolina, and they knock off Winston-Salem State right now. Virginia State wins its first CIAA championship since going back-to-back in 1995 and 1996. Nico Johnson is your game MVP, 21-17. Virginia State wins, and they take the wheel and head off to the NCAA Division II playoffs. Now, Virginia State's win was big for a number of reasons. Let's start with the national rankings. VSU is ranked in the AFCA poll for the first time this season. The Trojans coming in at number 23 this week. Winston-Salem State is still ranked this week. The Rams are at number 20. But more importantly for the Trojans, they go to the NCAA Division II playoffs for the first time ever. The Trojans will host the game as well. Long Island Post will be making the trip down to Rogers Stadium to take on BSU this Saturday. We caught up with head coach Latrell Scott, and he's excited about the opportunity.
All right, we're here with a very happy Virginia State head coach Latrell Scott. Coach, thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. I know it's great to be celebrating the CIAA championship, but now you got to bring it down. Time to get ready for LIU Post. But let's recap that CIAA championship game. How special was it to do it the way you guys did it in Durham?
Well, it was very special for our kids, our coaches, our entire campus and alumni group. Just to be able to win the first CIAA championship in about 18 years is very special for us, and to be able to make our first appearance ever in the NCAA playoffs, just makes it that much more, amazing.
I think the most amazing part when I look at it is the fact that you had the guts to sit down your quarterback, Terrion Ayers, and Nico Johnson came in there, and he didn't look like a guy that had thrown 3 passes the entire season. What poise that young man had.
Well, Nico's a good quarterback. He did a great job stepping into the role, I think. In Terrion's case, Terrion's a great young man that made a mistake, and that's part of our job as mentors and teachers is to teach these guys that, when you do things, that there are consequences. But, when it came to Nico, we tailor our game plan to, specifically fit exactly what his strengths are, and he did a great job managing the game for us.
Now, you might have a little mini controversy now. Virginia State fans, CIAA fans may want to know who's going to be the quarterback this Saturday. Gotta ask.
Well, we'll have both of them available, and we haven't made a decision yet. But I think the biggest, the greatest problem that we have is that we've got 2 really good quarterbacks that can step in and play in games for us.
Well, now let's talk about your team and the journey to get to the point that you're at now. I mean, last year, it's all documented. You didn't get the shot at Winston in the championship game, but you got a shot this time. And you had to feel like this was a team that you matched up with quite well, even though they had the number 10 ranking, and it pretty much looked good against everybody they faced this season.
Well, you have to give credit to Coach Boulware and the Winston-Salem program. Those guys are as good as advertised. They're a very talented bunch, very well-coached bunch, and they're a good group of kids. They played hard, they played clean. The game went on without issue. Everybody shook hands after the game, and that's the way college football should be. But we did think we matched up with them fairly well, and we knew that we'd have to do some positive things to stay around at the end of the game to give ourselves a chance to win.
Now you've got your first NCAA Division II playoff game, and you get it at your place against LIU Post. Tell the fans out there who don't know much about LIU what to expect from this team.
Well, it's a really hard-nosed, tough, well-disciplined football team. Their coach has been there for a long time, so their program is very stable. They're led by a very skillful quarterback and a really productive wide receiver, and they've got some really good-looking, talented kids on defense, and we're going to have to play well to be competitive on Saturday.
What do you think it'll come down to? Do you think the fact that you've got home field advantage in this thing, could it come down to the home crowd being on your side?
I hope so. We're really pushing to get all of our fans and our alumni. We're actually going into Thanksgiving break, but we're telling our people stick around as much as you can because we do really need a huge crowd. But in as much, we've got to make sure that we play Virginia State football. We've got to limit big plays. We've got to take care of the football, and we've got to play sound and solid on special teams.
How about your playmakers, Kevon Bellamy and Smallwood out there on the perimeter? You've got some playmakers too.
We do. Javon's had a great year. Kayvon's had a great year. Both first-team all-conference guys. They create matchup problems for guys. Kayvon does a great job in both the pass game and the run game, and Javon's done a great job the last couple of weeks of working himself free versus double teams. But a lot of credit goes to our offensive line and to Terrion Ayers for helping us win 8 games also.
Now, you talked about your tough early season schedule. I know you pointed out the tough loss up at California, PA earlier this season. How has it panned out to work in your favor now that you're at this point in the season?
Well, I think both of those programs are great measuring sticks for us, and we went into both of those games down a touchdown at the start of the fourth quarter and lost both games. And those are great football teams, great programs. But what I was able to come back and show our guys is that we didn't play in the fourth quarter, and you can't win a football game if you don't put together 4 quarters.
Now we go down to Montgomery, Alabama for the SIAC championship game. Tuskegee and Albany State in a rematch of a thrilling regular season game. The Golden Tigers won that game in Phoenix City by a score of 20-12. Albany State was bent on revenge in this game, and look at Adrian Alexander set the tone, running with attitude on the opening kickoff, running over some Golden Tigers, and just like that, he is going down the middle of the field, and before you get settled in at the Cramden Bowl, Albany State jumps out to a 7-0 lead. But Tuskegee may have found a quarterback in that first meeting with the Golden Rams. His name is Kevin Lacey, and Lacey goes to work early. Look at the pretty pass downfield to Larry Cobb. Big pitch and catch there, going to set up Tuskegee's first touchdown of the game. That's Hodrick Lowe. He's in the clear. Give him 6. We're tied at 7, but Lowe was just getting started in the first quarter, because the next time Tuskegee got the ball, he breaks into the clear again, and this time he covers 54 yards. Tuskegee, with back-to-back touchdowns by Lowe, jumps out to a 14-7 lead. Now Kevin Lacey goes to work, scrambles out of trouble. He's looking for number 19. Number 19 comes through. He makes 3 Golden Rams miss. He would be Larry Cobb. Touchdown Tigers, 21-7 at this point, Tuskegee. Here comes Albany State. Frank Rivers to Quadre Simmons for the touchdown, makes it 21-14 in favor of Tuskegee. That's your halftime score, but the show was just getting started. Pick it up now in the third quarter. Lacey back to pass. Looking for a receiver, in trouble, gets stripped, ball lands in the end zone, and Albany State jumps on top of it. Touchdown Golden Rams, they missed the PAT. So it's 21-20 in favor of Tuskegee. Later it's 24-20 when the little engine that can, Jarvis Small, scores. 27-24 Albany State. Small saw his run of 9 straight 100-yard games come to an end in this game, however, held to only 42 yards of 17 carries. And this is the play of the game. Marquell Gardner with the outstanding concentration, reels in that Justin Narrett pass and goes down the sideline, 84 yards for the touchdown, 31-27 Tuskegee. Now we've got a heavyweight championship fight, both slugging it out. Heavyweight to heavyweight. Rivers to Leonard Walker. Off the deflection, 34-31 in favor of Albany State. Here come the Golden Tigers. Narrett to Khalif Williams right down the middle. Give him 6. It's 38-34 Tuskegee. Now it's Albany State's turn. Rivers to Simmons. Albany State goes up 41-38. Tuskegee's got one final chance to get this game. And Narrett tries to come through. Narrett scrambles, finds Williams. He gets out of bounds. A few plays later, it's Michael J. Thornton. You will not stop him. You will not tackle him. He will score. 38 seconds left to play. Number 38 gives Tuskegee a 45-41 lead on the ensuing kickoff disaster for ASU. This play is going to result in a safety. Tuskegee goes on to win this game by a final score of 47-41. What a wild affair in Cramden Bowl. Tuskegee wins the SIAC championship. Now with the win, Tuskegee will get the chance to play in the NCAA Division II playoffs for the second straight year. Last year, the Golden Tigers lost a nail-biter to North Alabama by a score of 30-27. This year, they get to host their NCAA first-round game against West Georgia. We caught up with head coach Willie Slater and got his reaction to the good news.
Okay, we're joined now by Tuskegee head coach Willie Slater. Coach Slater, thank you so much for giving us a couple of minutes to talk to you. First, let's recap the Albany State game, the SIAC championship down at Cramden Bowl. What a wonderful atmosphere, and the game exceeded all the hype. What a whale of a game. It's too bad somebody had to lose it.
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it about how good a game it was, but we were very fortunate to come out of that game with the win. We just made too many mistakes, though. But anytime, I guess it's good if you can make that many mistakes and still win.
Well, two teams that are so evenly matched, and I saw the game in Phoenix City earlier. That came down to literally the last possession. these two games could have gone either way, and for you guys, you were able to make the plays late when you had to make them.
Yeah, we were fortunate in that we were able to do that, and not only did we make the plays, but we did it with our backup quarterback.
Now let's talk a little bit about moving ahead now to the West Georgia game, first round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. How much does last year's experience help you guys when you took on a North Alabama team, a powerhouse team, and you nearly beat them in their house? How much do you think it's going to help guys like Michael J. Thornton and Justin Nair when you guys talk about last year's experience to some of the younger kids on the team?
Well, I hope it gives them more of a desire to win the game. We've kind of in the same situation against Miles College. We didn't beat them, and therefore we didn't get a chance to play for the conference championship. So we overcame that hurdle, and then we got in the conference championship game, and we overcame that hurdle. So we're trying to overcome this hurdle. But we know that we have a great football team sitting there in front of us that we're going to have to play really well against if we're going to be successful.
When you talk about the Wolves, what immediately jumps out to mind when you see West Georgia on film?
Well, I've been looking at defense. They have some really good defensive linemen, and their linebackers are not trashy either, but their defensive linemen probably the best we've seen all year. That's going to be a tremendous challenge for us.
What is it about their defensive linemen? Is it strong and quick, or just strong at the point of attack? Or what is it that strikes out to you again about them?
They're really athletic. They're really mobile, and they don't get knocked down very often. They run to the ball. Number 37 is I don't know his name, but he's a really, really good football player. I know they put him to our strong side the majority of the time, so we have our work cut out with those guys.
Now, how much will it help you guys to know that they've got to come to Cleve Abbott Stadium? You're not going to Carrollton; they're coming to you.
Well, I guess some people it affects. We are actually a better road team than we are a home team, in my opinion. But they'll be coming to our house, and it's kind of unique. If you hadn't been here before, it's kind of unique, that's for sure.
And you think that will give you maybe the edge in this game? They jumped you guys up to a 3 seed in the Super Regionals for a reason after the Albany State win.
Yeah, sound like UNA has something to do with it, because they didn't get it. They're not going to get a chance to play West Georgia again unless they win this game. But no, I'm just kidding with that. But I don't know. I don't know how we jumped over UNA, to be honest with you. But we're there. We're happy that we're there. We're going to try to make the best of it.
Let's talk MEAC football, specifically Bethune-Cookman football. The Wildcats making the trip to Hampton to take on the Pirates at Armstrong Stadium. BCU, part of a 3-way tie atop the MEAC going into this game with North Carolina A&T and South Carolina State. But the Pirates would strike first early in this game. Jarrell Antoine to Saquon Gooding, give them 6 at 7-0 in favor of the Pirates. Then a special teams disaster for Bethune-Cookman. The punt gets blocked, will lead to a field goal to make the score 10-0 in favor of Hampton. Bethune-Cookman would trim the lead to 10-7, and then Jarrell Antoine would go to work. The freshman from Orlando making his first start ever, finding Saquon Gooding. Those two played pitch and catch quite a bit in this game. Gooding with 7 receptions for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. That touchdown reception made the score 16-7 in favor of Hampton. Now here comes Bethune-Cookman on the attack. That's Anthony Jordan breaking into the clear, and that's a touchdown. Bethune-Cookman trims the deficit to 16-14, and they're just starting to get warmed up. Well, they thought they were just getting warmed up, but the only person getting warmed up in this game was Jarrell Antoine, the freshman from Florida, coming back against some of his homeboys from Florida. Finding Gooding here on the long-distance hookup. Antoine, 21 of 34 for 249 yards and 5 touchdowns. Here's one of the touchdowns here to Tawan Mixon. That makes the score 23-14. Antoine would come right back down the field and lead the Pirates to another score, this one courtesy of Rashad Riddick. And the upset alert is on in Hampton. The Pirates lead by a score of 30-14. Anthony Jordan with a touchdown here for Bethune-Cookman. The Wildcats trying to rally. It's 30-21 now, but Antoine was hot. And I mean, he was red hot. Back the pass here. And again, going to Saquon Gooding, and Gooding gets behind the defense, reels the ball in inside the 10-yard line, and then Antoine would cash it in a couple of plays later. Look at the laser to Riddick, who goes all out for the catch. 37-21, Hampton leads. Bethune-Cookman desperately trying to rally now. Quentin Williams to Jordan on the screen. It's a big gainer for Bethune-Cookman. It's going to lead to Jordan's third touchdown of the game right here. That makes the score 37-28. It's 40-28 later when Larry Brim gets into the end zone for Bethune-Cookman, but it's too little too late. Hampton pulls off the stunner in Armstrong Stadium. Bethune-Cookman falls out of that first place tie because the Pirates come away with a 40-35 win. Now we take a look at this week's FCS Coaches Poll, where Bethune-Cookman slides 6 spots this week down to number 24. The Wildcats hope that a win over FAMU at the Florida Classic will be enough to get the Wildcats into the NCAA FCS playoffs. Alcorn State is a newcomer in this week's poll. The Braves are in at number 23 this week. John Gibbs and company close out the regular season by taking on their arch rival, Jackson State. Meanwhile, a team that is still in control of their destiny in the MEAC is not ranked. That team would be North Carolina A&T. The Aggies can wrap up the MEAC championship in Durham with a win over their hated arch rival, North Carolina Central. So we caught up with Aggie head coach Rod Broadway, who knows a thing or two about North Carolina Central. After all, he won a couple of CIAA championships with the Eagles a few years ago.
All right, we are here with North Carolina A&T head coach Rod Broadway on the cusp of perhaps an outright title for North Carolina A&T as they take on their hated rivals at North Carolina Central. And I know, Coach, you have been excited. You could see this day coming a few years ago when you took the Aggie job, and it's almost like you're at the end of the road and you just want to get the big payoff, isn't it?
Oh, no, I actually don't look at it that way. We still have a lot of work to do, and there is definitely a big game with a lot at stake this weekend. But as far as the job is concerned, we're still a long ways away from being the type of program that we was hired to build here. So we're going to continue to grind, and we're going to go to Durham this week and see if we can get us a big win to get this thing rolling in the right direction as far as starting to win some championships around here.
Now, you won a couple of championships, CIAA championships at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium with Central. So how ironic is it for you from a personal standpoint that your first MEAC title could also be won on that field?
Isn't that wild? I was thinking about that this morning. And yeah, that will be our third championship we won on that field. So that's our goal, and hopefully we can make it come true this weekend. But, it was 2 great wins there before, and hopefully they'll be just as sweet as those wins.
Now, when people think about this year's A&T team, Coach, the first thing that comes out in mind is Tariq Cohen, and with obvious reason, the guy is just electrifying on offense, but it's been your defense that has really carried the load here, especially in recent weeks, back-to-back shutouts for the first time in 60 years. And Devontae Grant, the MEAC Defensive Player of the Week, what a game he had last week against Savannah State. This defense has really come around for you.
They've played well, created some turnovers, and were able to keep people out of the end zone. I think we can play better. We've given up way too many third down conversions the last couple of games than we should have. But the end result, we kept them out of the game, out of the end zone. But we'd like to get the ball back a lot faster than we've been getting it back in some situations where they've been able to keep drives alive. But Coach Washington, Coach Oliver, Coach Cord, and Coach Cheek, our defense coach, has done an outstanding job of not only having our team prepared the last 2 weeks, but all season.
And speaking of that, you guys played a very tough non-conference schedule. You played a Coastal Carolina team right down to the wire, and Coastal's 1 or 2 ranked in the nation right now, and you've played a couple of other tough teams out of conference. Elon jumps to mind, and you beat them. How much do you think the tough early season schedule prepared you for what you guys have encountered in MEAC competition?
I mean, you don't know, actually. It can never hurt unless you get beat and you start losing confidence. But to be able to go and play really well against, and in my opinion, Coastal Carolina is one of the best teams in the country. They are really good. And when I say they are good, they are really good. And so that was I think that proved us, if they was in, I think at the time we played, they was the number 4 team in the country. We didn't talk about it as a team, but I'm sure the guys felt it. If that's the number 4 team in the country and they were lucky to get out of here with a win, then we probably can play with a lot of people that's on our schedule.
Now, looking at the national rankings, you're finally getting some national love, making the top 25 this week. What do you think? Is that a lack of respect, or has it been just a case of the Aggies having been down for a couple of years before you came back to North Carolina from Grambling? What do you think it is that people are just now discovering that this Aggie team is pretty good?
Well, it's probably a combination of things. A lot of things have been done by reputation. You take our league, for instance, it doesn't matter who has what coming back. They're going to pick Alabama State or Bethune-Cookman because they've been the dominant teams in this league for the past few years, which is how people think. And usually when you're a new guy on the block, it takes a while to get a little respect. And, the only thing we can do is just keep winning, keep playing good people, keep winning, and, all that other stuff take care of itself in the long run.
Okay, Coach Broadway, one final question. The Aggie-Eagle rivalry, it is a big deal at North Carolina A&T, and it's a big deal at Central, and you've been at both schools. Talk about the rivalry from your perspective and what it means to A&T, or what it means to both schools, basically.
Well, it is a great rivalry, and there's not a lot of, love lost between the two schools, even though, I don't have a hate relationship with Central. I will forever be grateful to them for giving me my first head coaching job. So I have a lot of respect for Central and the school and what it stands for. But we're going to go down there and try to kick the butt, just like we're going to try to kick our butt. And the rivalry is special in itself, and that the stands are full, the people come out, and it's wall to wall, and it's packed, and it's tight in there. So it's a great atmosphere for football. It's a great atmosphere for football.
Here's a look at the HBCU Live scoreboard so you can check out how your team did last week. That'll do it for this week's show. Be sure to catch up with us again next week. North Carolina A&T is on center stage. The Aggies will try to wrap up the MEAC championship as they take on North Carolina Central in the Aggie-Eagle Classic. We'll also show you how Virginia State and Tuskegee fared in their NCAA first-round Division II playoff games. Now, sponsorship opportunities are available here with HBCU Live. Catch up with us, hbculive@aol.com. or call us 704-609-7157. That'll do it for this week. Hope to see you again next week. Hope your team also is in the win column. See you next week.